Let's continue on taking a look at our code. I had to re-add some or change the order of the layers for some reason. Somehow from when I saved it to when I turned it back on, it changed. Computers are interesting. Okay, so we got our character here. Space bar causes the jumping. Like that. We had that problem where it fell over. So let's talk about that. If I grab my character here, you see the rotation is 0, 0, 0. And if I change the rotation, like I change this to 30, let me try another one. Try to change a Z. So change the Z to 30. You see it gets rotated like that. So what comes to me is a solution for that. And again, I haven't explored this. When I run across these problems when I'm programming, I think about, well, how would I solve this? And I'm thinking, well, if I know its original rotation, then each time through the loop, I can make sure that the rotation is set back to 0, 0, 0, or whatever it is. Now, there might be some option down here where you can tell it for the rigid body that it always stays upright. That'd be the other potential item. But we'll approach it from a programming standpoint. So I'm going to double click my player movement. And so I got my player movement up here. Got my start. I got my update. Update is where I'd want to put it. And I'll define quaternion, neon. Probably saying it wrong. Q1. And then I'll say my Q1 is equal to this dot transform dot rotation. If I say Q1 dot X is equal to 0, Q1 dot Y is equal to 0, and Q1 dot Z is equal to 0. And then I'll say this dot transform dot rotation is equal to Q1. In theory, that should fix it, because each time it goes through the game loop, it'll reset those to 0. So it will never fall over. But let's see if that's true. Sometimes my brilliant ideas aren't quite what they need to be. Okay. Now I do my jumping. Flies through the air if I hold down. We'll talk about that here shortly. Now, no matter what, the character does not fall over, does it? Now, what I'd really like, we're going to talk about animated sprite sheets another day, but I really like if he's going left to be facing left. So let's see if there's something we can help us with that. I could definitely take this image and flip it over in Paint, and if I don't see anything jumps out of me on how I can flip it around, then we'll do that. Now Z appeared to actually rotate at an angle. Let's see what the rotation here does. If I put 90 for X. If I put 180 for X. 180 is upside down. How about Y? If I change the Y to 180, our character is facing the other direction, isn't it? So that appears like a way we could do it without having two separate images. And that's in the same place, the rotation. So let's go back to our code here. Now this would always cause it to be facing right. So maybe that isn't the proper thing to do. We'll come back to that. I get down here, if they push the right arrow, stop the attachment there. We'll put my curly braces, since I'm going to have more than one line of code. So if they push the right arrow, then I want to do q1.y is equal to 0, because that's facing right. On the other hand, if they push the left arrow, then I do q1.y is equal to 180. Now the problem is that will seem to work based upon what we're seeing. We'll test it in a minute. The problem is up here is I'm resetting it to 0 each time. So I might see some flipping back and forth. So I probably actually don't want to set this up here. So I'm going to comment out the q1.y. And this .transform .rotation, I'm going to cut that because I want that actually to be at the end. Just in case there's any other changes I want to make. So I'll put that down there. And again, this should work, but let's test it. Looks like when I move my left arrow, turns left. Move my right arrow, turns right. So that appears to be working. Looks like it can bounce up into that the brick, which that's an issue, but not as serious an issue as some of these other problems. Is there any questions on that so far? And it appears more realistic as it moves, right? Now, if you think of a sprite sheet, moving it back and forth like that, of course, it's a mirror reflection, but it looks like their legs just going up would cause that to appear like Mario's running, right? So I could actually, I wouldn't even have to use a sprite sheet capability. I could alternate back and forth between images, putting them in the same location and hiding the other one. You notice there's a I thought there was a visibility. I'm confusing this with another language or something. Got Mario selected? Yeah, I got Mario selected. Huh, no, there isn't a visibility that I can see. Okay. So we have fixed the fallen over problem. We've fixed the left and right facing problem. Now the jumping problem is a bigger issue. If I run the game, I really don't want, I originally was thinking, okay, I'll record off my original position. That's why I started programming. But if I jump up here and jump on that, will I ever return back to my original position? No, because my original position is down here, isn't it? If I do the up arrow, that's the lowest it'll drop because it collides with that. Now it appears like if I'm in jump mode, my one of my thoughts was I just keep counting back down to 9. I go up to 9 and then count back to 9. But at that point, you wouldn't be able to jump right away while you're up here. So another way is that if your character from the previous frame to this frame, or game cycle, I should say, from the previous game cycle to this game cycle, did your character drop any? If your character didn't drop any, then you should allow him to jump again. So we could try that. Not saying it'll work, but my original idea of the original jump position wasn't a good idea. So I'm going to record off the previous Y position. So public, I don't know what it'll be. I think a float. Previous Y position. It might have to be an integer. Let me get rid of this jump position down here. And down here at the very bottom, I'm going to record off my previous Y position is equal to position dot Y. So then up here I can check to see if I'm jumping. Probably doesn't matter where I put it. So I do have to put it after this position. If I'm jumping, so if jump is equal to true, I'm now in jump mode. Check to see if the Y position has changed. Specifically, if it's less, I should say. If the current Y position actually, if it hasn't changed at all, that means in theory my character has quit jumping. That might be an easier check. Just check see if the current Y position is same as the previous. So if position.y is equal to previous Y position, that has to be 2 equals. That means I'm done jumping, and I can say jump is equal to false. Now that by itself shouldn't fix it. But down here where I'm checking to see if they press the space bar, and I'm saying and jump is equal to false, then that should handle it with that. So let me attach to Unity. And it doesn't look like it's working because I'm holding down my space bar and it keeps going up. So I'm going to come over here, stop that, and let me think through my code again. Okay, previous Y position, and I check to see if I'm currently jumping. If I'm jumping, I check to see if the current position is equal to the previous position, which in theory should mean that it's no longer falling, but it's not working. I'm going to put a breakpoint over here. And then I'll do a debug attached Unity debugger. You should only have one Unity instance here, so I click that, click OK. Although now that I'm thinking about it, I want it inside the loop, so I'll click there. You just click the gray area over here, and let's go run our game. Okay, so move in, press my space bar. If I put my mouse over the that, it says position is negative 3.12, 5087. Okay, so it's going, it's increasing. So my original logic seems to be working on that. What that maybe tells me is the equals is not the best way to check that. So now I have to think about this. It's either going to be a less than or greater than. I could think about it for a long time, which one would be a better one to go with. Let me see if my current position is less than, greater than previous position. Let's just try it. Less than or equal to. Attach to Unity. Run that. And doesn't look like that's working. Let's try it the other way. If this doesn't do it, then one other way I'm thinking of is to round. Actually, I don't think there's any way this could work with the greater than or equal to. Yeah, that's what I thought it would do. Okay, well, let's take a look at the rounding then. So I'm going to say math dot, yeah, maybe I can do round directly. I think I have to import it. Let's see. If mathf. So mathf dot capital MATF dot round to the nearest integer. It might work. Mathf dot round previous y position. Depends on how fast it changes in terms of the y's. And there's other ways you can get around that if it does require integers. You can simply multiply by 100 or 1,000. And that doesn't appear to work because I keep pressing my up arrow like that. So let me multiply this position.y times 1,000, or maybe 100. Multiply this by 100. Attach to Unity. It's still not working quite right on that. So it could be that what I want to check is when I check the down or the key code space, instead of get key, I want to check dot get button down. Maybe get button. Returns true that is held down. Press down. Okay, so let's get button down. Button name. Try space. See if that works. Doesn't even work now. It doesn't even move. That's bizarre. Why isn't the right arrow key working? Okay, I'm going to go back to get key. And let's see, think auto fire. This one is returns true. User starts pressing down the key. So let's do get key down there. And I think I can do key code here. Dot space. Attach that to Unity. Now that's just one part of it. I don't think that'll fix it completely. Press my space doesn't go up very high, does it? So instead of a counter of 9, let's go up to 59. That's only 9 I had. Oh, here's a jump counter 58. I'll change that to 58. Attach to Unity. Interesting. Position is equal to 0.3. I'm increasing it by 1. Jump is equal to true. Maybe jump is being set equal to false before I want it to be. I still have my code here. So let me comment that out. Probably won't like that if statement. We'll go ahead and attach it. Huh. 59 goes way high. Okay, back that back down 9. Do you see like games take a while to code? To tackle all these little pieces to get it to work just like you want. We talked about the Pac-Man game where if you did it strictly based upon the colliders, then you couldn't turn right unless it was exactly lined up. Okay, so let me run that. Still allowing me to jump in the middle. Let's see. If jumps is equal to true, we try to change this. And position.y now if he's still falling, then the current position should be less than the previous position. So this is as if it's still falling. I'll put parentheses around position.y in this. So if it's still jumping and the position is less, then it's still falling. So I don't want to flip it. I'm going to put an exclamation in front of this. And then I'm going to change this jump to false. And see if I'm even close. Doesn't look like it. I think I'm still able to jump in the middle. So I'm going to come here. And I'm going to do an attach. So debug, attach Unity debugger. I'll choose that one, click OK. I'll run this. There it jumped out. If I put my mouse over here, current position is negative 2.82. And negative 2.829047. This is negative 2.829047. It's exactly equal. Jump is true. My jump counter is equal to 2. Why would they be equal at that point? That's a bigger question. I expect the one to be less than, greater than. I expect them to be equal. Equal would be like your character stop falling. But I don't know when it does the rigid body calculation. Maybe that does it after it does this. That's part of when they gave you little bits of places to put code in, is that you have to know what order everything happens in. And I really don't know where it does that rigid body calculation. Now I'm going to play with this while you're working on the project, because obviously I'm not going to get it really fast. It could be I have to have another. Let me try one more thing. I'm jumping while jump counter is less than 9. If it's equal to 8, I'm setting jump to false, and I'm setting jump counter to 0. So maybe if I also check to see if jump counter is equal to 0 here. Jump counter is equal to 0. And then down here, I no longer set this to false. Let's see if that does it. I don't want to consume the entire class period because I promised you time to work on projects. So. Just pretty high there. Not that is good. Well, you also got the asteroids project to continue working on. But what I want you to do here is I want you to build 2 scenes using the same kind of setup with the bricks and so forth. Next time we're going to look at how to transition. Like your character runs off the screen, where should it appear? On the next scene, right? Yeah. So we're going to see how to do that. The new version of Unity has provided a way to do that slickly versus like recreating all of your objects. So we'll see how to handle that. But yeah, the rest of the time to work on this and the other project.